In 1917, directed by Sam Mendes, Blake and Scofield must prevent the death of 1,600 soldiers by delivering a message, but soon after their deployment, Scofield finds himself alone. After the death of Blake, he has many opportunities to be with people, ending his alone period, but he always chooses to continue on solo. Scofield is alone, but he is not lonely. There is a big difference between the two. In this video, we will see how Scofield combats his solitude and how he accepts the fact of being alone, but doesn't choose to be lonely. We will then see how we can choose to be alone, but reject loneliness in our own lives, especially during this quarantine season. Before we go on, if you could please like this video. We make these film relationship advice video essays about once a week, and a like would help us tremendously. A beautiful detail from 1917 is how they start and end the same. It comes full circle. In both scenes, the characters are alone, but not lonely. We open up with Blake and Scofield taking a nap by a tree. While they walk through the trenches filled with other soldiers, we are only fixated on Blake and Scofield. We don't pay attention to any of the other extras passing by. Scofield is not alone nor lonely in the beginning because he's simply with somebody else, his partner Blake. The fact that he's surrounded by others doesn't make a difference. Then they separate from the pack.
Age before beauty.
Yet, while walking through enemy territory, they still are not alone. They have each other to talk to and keep each other company.
You keep hold of me! You need to trust me! Jump!
But then, you know what happens next. Blake dies, and Scofield is left to carry out the mission by himself. Then, out of nowhere, more British troops show up and he hitches a ride. But notice how isolated he seems, even though he's shoulder to shoulder with other troops. Though surrounded by people, Scofield is still alone. His next opportunity for connection is when he meets the Frenchwoman. She even tells him to stay.
Stay. Stay. Please.
I have to go.
Maybe he can wait for a more strategic time to leave, or even eat a little bit of food to recoup before leaving. But he doesn't. He doesn't need to, because he's not lonely. If he was, he would consider all these things. He would want to be with someone. Someone kind, a stranger who tends to his wounds when they first meet. But why doesn't he? Because he has a goal, something he's putting all of his energy into. He simply doesn't have the physical or emotional space to be lonely. So the first step to combating loneliness is to be working towards something, to have a goal. There's a reason why writers sometimes go to cabins in the woods, far away from civilization, so they can finish their books. For Scofield, his mission is to deliver this message.
Your orders are to get to the second at Quassia Wood, 1 mile southeast of the town of Hookhurst. Deliver this to Colonel Mackenzie. It is a direct order to call off tomorrow morning's attack. If you don't, it will be a massacre.
But even though you have a purpose, you can still feel lonely. That's very true. The writer who retreats to his cabin can very much still miss human connection, and so does Scofield. After a grueling escape from some Germans, he jumps into the river, where he's so tired he almost falls asleep floating. He crawls out utterly defeated. The weight of the mission is getting to him. His partner died in his arms, and he just got tossed around like a piece of bark in a river. Now he has to crawl all over dead corpses to get to land. But he keeps going. Step 2 of fighting loneliness is to keep going. You can cry a little bit, you can let it get to you for a moment, but you have to keep going. And when you do, you might get a glimmer of hope.
That bright land to which I go, I'm going there to see.
These are the two things that allow Scofield to be successful in his mission. Especially because of what's going on in the world, it's very easy to feel lonely while you're alone at home. I would encourage you to try and follow a goal during this time, and set your mind so passionately on a mission that you won't have the physical or mental capacity to be lonely. Quarantine doesn't have to be miserable. Now is the time to do that thing you've always wanted to do. And it'll be hard, it'll get lonely, but just keep going. And sooner or later, we'll be reunited with the ones we love.
No more to run. I'm only going over home.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Do you agree or disagree with this video essay? Please let us know in the comments. If you like this material, please consider subscribing. If you have a story that this reminds you of, please email us at filmlovestories@gmail.com, and we would love to see you in the next one.
Don't die. I won't.